Yeah,
equally, if not better. So
I agree.
yeah, right now it's just like, let's see what the boy can do. Spawning over in the top left as our blue Protoss and golden aura. It is the boy. It is Lemon.
And in the bottom right, red Protoss. He is on the team. It's Mystery Gaming. It is Cyan.
Lemons isn't on a team.
Oh, he's teamless.
Oh my goodness.
Get this man right now.
Yeah. Actually, you know, like, I sometimes joke about, you know, you should absolutely pick this guy up, but if this guy continues with what he's showing, he is massive. He is massive.
Yeah, you take this guy right now. I actually feel like, I might be wrong, I feel like he used to be on Mystery Gaming, actually, but maybe. I'll just go look him up. Give me a sec. Yeah, he was on Mystery Gaming until the 5th of April, 20 days ago. They basically dropped him, and then he just became an absolute beast.
This is like one of those villain arcs where it's like, I'll show you. It's like,
well,
oh, now he's really good.
They're like, no, come back to our team. He's like, no, I've got better places to be. You didn't want me at my worst, you don't get me at my best.
Yeah, like, every game I saw out of Lemon, he was just, it was clean. It was just good, solid fundamentals. He was fast, and yeah, it's what you want to see, because the old guard of the scenes, they are obviously really good. But when you get these new players that are just very, very hungry, sometimes they just have that little bit extra that they can actually, you know, get over the hurdle and make it a little bit more. So if we talk about builds here, both going for the high ground double gate build, so no differentiation there. It is Cyan with a fake proxy for now, just kind of with Lemon scouting, he's gonna be like, all right, there's one pylon missing. So far, it doesn't look anything weird. And some of the builds that Lemon went for were just very macro orientated, like getting the second base set up, 3 bases, good micro, lots of gateway stuff. Just cool to see, and we have a little bit of deviation in what units they're going for first. Very often, the way that Cyan's playing it can be some Stargate follow-up, whereas Lemon, he was very much about just enjoying those blink builds.
Yeah, it was very clean, standard gameplay from him last time around. So we see a couple of Stalkers popping out, and really just expecting him to do that. Like, it felt as though he just was better at doing everything last time when he played against Firefly, and he was just like, it was super clean, it was super smooth, his timings were better. I'm so intrigued if that continues here against Cyan, and obviously now as well, you know you're playing against Lemon, you're going to do some prep, you're going to watch his previous games. It'll be interesting to see if that's something which is a factor, because it almost feels as though there wasn't going to be much on Lemon to see before, because he also didn't always play Protoss. He's played every race at some point of his career, so there's not like there's a bunch of games you can study on him. But now there is at least a few games you can study on him, and that's kind of a big maybe switch up as well, right? So maybe that gives Cyan something to help him figure things out, as we are going to see those sentries coming through as well. We'll see Lemon unfortunately making the mistake there. That Stalker getting too far forward.
Oh, you know, he's lost it. He's lost it, Wardy. Nah, so, okay. Very, very different tech choices here out of both these players. We've got a Robo on the go for Lemon, and we do have that Stargate on the go for Cyan on his side of things. Now, it's not super obvious to know what he's gone for if you're in Lemon's shoes. Oh, nice little force field trap here. And I mean, those sentries pack a real punch. I mean, this is not what you want if you're a Lemon fan. This is brutal. Won't even get a single unit there.
Even the Stalker again back to the battery is a big deal. Just gets to heal up, does not go down. Yeah, the Lemon hype train is definitely not taking off so far today, as he gets his Robo finish at home, but I mean, he's just lost out big time when it comes to the early units, and Cyan's even going to start moving across the map to poke and prod, see if there's any opportunities for him here going across the other side, and I mean, at the very least, why not give it a go, because there is not a lot actually ready for Lemon. If that Immortal gets through, sure, that would help, but it ain't ready yet. I guess the battery will have a huge role to play here. The sentries will have a couple force fields to help with also. The Adepts are going to threaten to shade through, and that will be a wall off to defend that.
Certainly will, and I mean, that absolutely keeps Lemon in the game, but everything that we see right now, not the best for Lemon, and that Oracle, that is definitely something that could spell a little bit of disaster at some point, and Cyan does get into the main base. We'll get a few probes through trouble. Oh, a little bit of a misclick there from him, but going to focus down the probes very nicely after it, and will he get, okay, just 3, but I tell you what, for the damage that he's done already on the army alone of Lemon, that's absolutely gorgeous for him. Funny that he's going for Phoenix afterwards. I guess that's just maybe to lift up the Immortal when it comes to a fight kind of thing, because Cyan right now does have a really decent little army on the field.
Yeah, I think it's exactly that. You lift up the Immortal, it just completely negates that, and just in case as well, there's potentially like some Prism play that would also just stop that from lingering around your base. So I think the couple Phoenix go a long way to maybe giving you a chance to just push across the map and really be quite decisive in this because of the damage that you've done earlier, the worker lead that you now have. But not mind to see Cyan being aggressive, especially as he confirms the third of his opponent. These Adepts will commit, and they're just going to send it for a couple more probe kills.
Yeah, 2 more. I mean, this one obviously not as good a trade, but we look at that probe count already. Cyan is powering on ahead in every way. I mean, the Immortal count is growing for Lemon. Twilight Council is on the go as well. No Twilight at all for Cyan, if I'm not mistaken here, so a bit less power in the punch, if you will, but it does feel like with the amount of Phoenix that he has, it's just one. Cyan's playing a bit weird. a little bit weird. I was kind of thinking that he was going to do, okay, it's going to be a Twilight Council now, and he's just setting up defensively postured with that Phoenix as well. Yeah, a bit curious about the way that Cyan's following this up, but still getting that little bit of eco damage, eco lead, and he's definitely sitting comfortable in this game. Both start up their forges as well. That's usually a sign of, we know we're not going to die to anything, get the upgrades packing, and go for a later game.
Yeah, you just get yourself those upgrades on the way, and you get yourself ready to play the next stage of this. So, I mean, that part's nice, but everything that happens here with a 10 worker lead for Cyan, right? So he's going to have the way, you know, huge extra gateway count. He's going to be on so many units. There's going to be a point where you look at this, the numbers, and it's going to be like, whoa, where did Cyan get all this army? And it's going to just be because all game long he's had a significant worker lead. So I feel as though we are kind of heading towards a tricky situation here for Lemon, and it's kind of on him now to maybe bring it back. And obviously we're seeing these different routes as well, as we see Blink versus Charge. So Lemon still wants to play this very high Blink Stalker count and be very active around the map. Cyan is going to double down on just the Charge loss to kind of be the tank to the tech units behind of Immortal Archon lines that are really going to be the ones to try and deal the damage. So 2 very different styles for the mid game. Maybe the fact that this is not completely mirrored is a big thing for Lemon, because that could be a way back in. If it was mirrored, it's less likely you can turn it around, as the Immortal drop here is extremely successful so far.
That Immortal recalled in so far forward there. It like just took some hits to the face right away, and Lemon very quick to starting up his 4th base here. So that is, he's been a little bit quicker on the 3rd and 4th, but he has been behind in the probe count. But he's catching up. Now he's starting his own charge. It feels like Cyan is absolutely leaning into doing a massive swell, like big attack before Lemon really kicks off. But I don't know. It can be a weird one to try and really overwhelm with, because the Zealot count isn't super high for him right now. He's getting a lot of Archons in the mix, and Archons, they're all well and good, but the right amount of Stalkers, they're not necessarily that bad against the Archons. It feels weird, like the Archon splash is very negligible against the Stalkers itself, and Cyan, you can see this. He's getting ready to pop across the map here.
Yes, he is. He is on his way. And a group of Archons at the back as well. And again, it's just such a powerful army with all those tech units included. You see Charge on the way from Lemon, but I don't think he's going to have a huge... Well, she has quite a few Zealots already. It almost makes me kind of look at this and be like, well, why did we build Blink? We built Blink for like 7 Stalkers. Okay, eventually maybe Blink is nice, but to me right now that's a waste. You could have already had Charge finished, and that could have been a big deal right now as Cyan becomes the aggressor, attacking on in. He does have that Archon count to help him eat through the Zealots of his opponent, especially as they're slow moving. They are just taking a lot of shots before they even get to swing their blades. Yeah,
Cyan's army is pretty huge, like pretty damn huge, and he's not really pumping out that many more probes. Lemon's still pumping out the probes. That shield battery overcharge that he baited out there, very nice move out of Cyan, and I tell you what, this is not going to be easy to break through what Lemon has. That's a lot of backline firepower here, but those Archons are going absolutely ape on the Zealots, and probes are pulled as well, just to take a bit of the damage from those Immortals there, so nice tanking out of those, and Lemon's supply is absolutely plummeting. Nice Warp Prism micro out of Cyan as well to keep those Immortals alive. Lemon with his own Archons dealing quite a bit of tanky damage at the front there, but my goodness, Cyan just, I think he has way too much here, Wardy.
I'm with you, he has got way too much. It is seemingly fairly obvious as a couple of Immortals in the back from Lemon still surviving, but then a Phoenix lifts one of them up, and the triple Immortal will absolutely pack a punch. Even if they're all very low, they will absolutely destroy things when they give them the chance. And we get some more Zealots coming through. We lift up that Immortal again as we just take out the battery and other gateway units. It also just gives a chance for these Immortals to regen some shields, as Cyan has done everything he needs to. Lemon is going to be having a tap out of this game. Cyan just took the lead from the start, right? From the very get-go, he just took himself into an advantageous position. And he was just able to just build on that the entire time. And this is actually, I think, the first time in the tournament when I've looked at Lemon and been like, weird choices. Like, the Blink doesn't really do anything in this game. You know, like, he had 7 Stalkers, and maybe it's a stage where it's like, oh, I made Blink, but then I see what you're doing, so now I'd actually rather have Zealots. But then it just doesn't feel good. I feel like he'd almost be better still trying to make it work with Blink somehow. Probably was too late anyways, though, so GG's. And Cyan shown us that he's absolutely going to be a scary opposition for Lemon in this series.
Cyan's a cool cookie. Like, there was one thing that I really liked about Cyan's play. I think it was Gieshi. And I keep kind of going back to last season when they played these best of 5s, but Cyan, he played against Gieshi, I think. And I'll just keep saying that, just in case. But he went, like, I think 0-2 down against Gieshi, the Robo Kid. And then all of a sudden it was like, you know what? Hold on a minute. Let's start really giga hard countering this. And he started doing things like Void Ray immediately, like Void Ray Adept to counter it. Like, he started playing really smart, and he actually eventually ended up winning. So even though the other player that he played was very good at doing what he did, Cyan just kind of clued in, and you really saw that he evolved during the series and started really honing in on what his opponent does. And here, Cyan, he got a little bit of a lead, and he wasn't about letting Lemon just get into the game again. Like, every move that he did, it was just, all right, do this pressure, this little poke, this little push, because you made a mistake early on. And then it was like, okay, Warp Prism, get the Immortal going. Just these little tiny moves, the Oracle as well being a little bit of a factor there, slowing down the eco. Just good play to know when you're ahead and how to close it out.
Yep, as we have ourselves Oceanborn coming up for game number 2. Give you a little yap there, Ben. Just felt like it'd been a while. As we head into the top left-hand side of the man that was really powerful in game number 1, it is going to be the Red Protoss player, Cyan.
And spawning over in the bottom right, as the blue toss, it is the new sensation. It is Lemon. Yeah, Lemon's definitely not gonna. I hope he's not gonna make the same mistakes there, because that was one Stalker getting a bit too crazy and Larry early on, losing it, but then the next 3 just kind of running in there to their doom. That's not what you're after. Not what you're after at all. And I mean, mirrors are very much about, like, the small things that matter, right? And just kind of trading out 4 Stalkers for 1 Adept early on, that is by no means a good trade, and absolutely a difficult one to come back from.
It is, and I kind of did like the fact that the game at one point he was starting to make the game different by going Blink against that charge, because I think then the idea of, hey, at least it's not a mirror, it's not like you're playing the same thing just behind you, hoping the super battery keeps you alive during a fight. Yeah, in the end, it just didn't really matter, because, again, he went Blink, then he kind of went into charge, he had less Archons, he had less tech, it was just going to be a tough time altogether. So Lemon just needs kind of a fresher start, and honestly, we've seen him be able to do that, so definitely feel as though it's not out of the question as we go into this game 2 on Oceanborn. It is going to be double gates each. We are in a meta where single gateway openings are fairly popular, but that's maybe not quite transpired through to this Asian region as much as it has been in Europe and so on.
No, there's a few players that might whip it out here and there, but the play that we've seen out of Lemon so far has been very, I'll say, orthodox. Like, that was the worst game out of Lemon that I've seen, and after the initial, where he lost a lot, I don't think he did anything truly wrong, but yeah, just a tricky one to come back through, and honestly, can be a bit of a nervous situation, you know, first best of 5s happening in this region. Yeah, I'm looking forward to see what he brings this game. So far, it looks like fairly similar opening out of... In fact, okay, Lemon's going for the Sentry here, and it's Cyan going for the double Stalker. I remember the Control X now, Wardy. Get to see these Protosses in the right
way around.
the right spots. Yeah.
I know, I can't cast without it like that. It's every time I try to, it just goes horribly wrong. I start saying the wrong name for the wrong person. Yeah, you gotta have them the right way around, man. It's so easy to do though. Like, I don't understand why people don't.
I was like, double Stalker again from Lemon, and it's absolutely not at all. So both these players mixing up what they do at the start. Lemon will have a faster expansion going, and Sentries, they're not as vulnerable as they used to be. Oh, Cyan.
Yeah, Cyan.
This is going to be incredibly aggressive from him. Like, it could be very quick 3-gate over there. I mean, Lemon's going to try and get some scouting information going. And look how Cyan's moving those Stalkers, by the way. He really wants to intercept that hallucination to not reveal what he's going for. Nice play out of him.
Yep. It's a well done thing. Just a couple Stalkers there, able to knock that hallucination down. You deny that scouting. Cyan trying to poke at the front. Another hallucination sets out. The sentries aren't used to themselves. The hallucination will go past these Stalkers, which at one shot off. Now you're going to know where the hallucination is coming from, so maybe you can still intercept it if that's 2 more Stalkers, and it is. They're going to go, and they're going to hit it once, twice. It's not enough, so the scout will come through. Going to see the Nexus, but as you move through, there's going to be a severe lack of tech, and that's concerning. You can see him clicking towards that final panel. He's like, hey, what are you doing? He's like, wait, you're not doing anything? But now the gig is up that there should be aggression and that you just need to have a bit more static defense at home and get ready to deal with what is a lot of Stalkers on your front doorstep.
It really is, and you know, it's a very early shield battery overcharge. Like, this is kind of what Cyan was looking for, hoping for, to get something like that. And it will buy Lemon more time for his next warp-ins, but still, I'm so surprised that he's not gone for more shield batteries or anything like that, because this is a scary, scary Stalker squad, and you see he's respecting this by pulling the pros, but almost too little too late at this point. I feel that Cyan's getting quite a bit of damage done here, but still, you have to be very careful. Next shield battery overcharge will be 25 seconds away. Now he's producing a second shield battery, but Wardy, this is very, very late out of Lemon.
It really is. He did have time to build this earlier. I feel like he got the info and he just didn't start it until now. Like, this is starting a battery when you've already lost everything, right? But he could have had it when he saw there was no tech in the main. That should have been a sign that something aggressive was coming. And he's just losing Stalker after Stalker now.
I still think Lemon is okay, because he's going to have Blink very, very, very soon. And I mean, that's a new shield battery up and running now. And Blink against Stalkers without Blink, even if you have less, it's usually quite a good tail for you. And probe count, Lemon's been very good about getting the probes. These Stalkers getting seriously low out of Cyan. And now, I think he has to start thinking about trying to get home against this. He's getting his own Blink, but it's very late on the go. And using an aggressive Blink there, I mean, there's quite a few Stalkers there for the easy pickings. Lemon has to be careful because he has no idea what tech is happening or when or if Blink comes down. He's actually bringing a probe down here because he wants to take a third. That's he's a ballsy lad.
Brave play, brazen play is. The Blink does allow him to take very good trades now, although that is the problem. If you get one shot, then the Blink doesn't matter. As our Stalkers will get blinked on once more. And Lemon does hold on. He is fending this off with a worker lead as well. It looks scary. I was not convinced that battery was in time. I was not convinced he was going to have enough all around. He lets these adepts through. He actually blinks on them when the Shade was cancelled, but yeah, obviously Shade cancels because he realizes that's probably going to happen. So Cyan notices he can't do anything. I kind of love that he just rushes the third base. It's like, you know what? Yeah, I clearly have Blink and you don't. I can defend this. And if I just get my third up, that's great. He shot his own Stalker, right?
Yeah, he did a probe.
A probe. Not quite as severe.
No, not quite as severe, but definitely not what you want. All right, Cyan really hammering in here, getting more warp-ins on the offensive as well. Getting a pylon down here at this third is a big deal because you want to get a shield battery here, and Blink's going to finish up very shortly for Cyan. Like, Lemon's not out of the woods just yet, but okay, Blink finished. Wow, that is an aggressive Blink out of Cyan. I'm not sure if that's quite the play. He's just missing the firepower to one-shot these Stalkers, and shield battery going down here. Lots of money. I can't believe he's blinking so aggressively. I mean, he feels he needs to get damage done here very, very soon. So many of these Stalkers in the red here. Cyan is playing with fire, and holy cow.
Yeah, holy blinks. He is just going for them. He is blinking forward so many times. This next is so close to going down. This feels like something he needs to get at this point. He's put so much damage onto it. His Stalkers are hurting and bleeding, and he's just going to try and fight through. But the problem is now he's running out of that Stalker count to actually get anything done. Now he tries to right-click the Nexus. That's not going to work either. So the Nexus lives. An extra Stalker shows up. Is going to get shot down too. And Lemon can get rid of that gateway power. And he can put himself in a much better position now. He is going to be in the lead of this game as Cyan lost everything trying to finish off this Nexus. And it just wasn't enough.
You know, that trying to focus down a Nexus with a good, like, 300, 400 health remaining with like 4 stalkers that you have. I tell you what, that was optimistic. Cyan is definitely a glass half full kind of guy, and Lemon, he's not going to let all this early game shenanigans slow him down. He's like, you know what? Let's start a 4th base, mate. Let's go. He realizes he's in good shape now. Gets the Forge going as well. He's going to get a Robo as well, just to make sure that he gets vision. Tanks up his army a bit, getting lots of gateways. Honestly, a nice hold out of Lemon, but it could have been easier if he just made an extra shield battery early on.
It really could have been. If you just have more Stalkers still alive because that battery came down sooner, then the entire follow-up, when you have Blink and your opponent doesn't, I mean, that could be across the map winning the game instead of barely holding onto your 3rd base. And now, yes, ending up in a good position, but again, you just have to think about the consequences of not reacting, and it's definitely a lesson to learn. Going into the future games, you don't want to make that mistake a second time, because it did get close. It did become very plausible that we could have had a Cyan breakthrough on this, so gotta be careful, gotta be cautious. Forge coming up here from Cyan now to get that underway, but he's gonna be way behind on that +1 attack.
Yeah, he definitely is. Like, probe counts looking good for Lemon as well. Cyan has yet to start a 4th base, which is maybe the biggest deal in this game, despite all the early game losses and the 2k resources loss lead. Lemon's just doing what he does, where he gets out a lot of units, and look at how he's positioned his observers as well. They're just kind of defensive here, because he's like, the only way that I can really get super behind this game is if you do something like DTs or what have you. So he's just going to position them nice and defensively. Ooh, that is an aggressive blink out of Lemon there, but realizing that he could get the little bit of a grab. A nice play out of him. Cheeky little depths going into the natural are exposed, and Zealots will be warped in to try and deal with them. I even like the cannons as well, Like, he will want to use those observers fairly aggressively, most likely. Just having some cannons in the mix allows him just to get out on the map like he wants.
Yeah, prep for DTs just in case as well, right? If you're going to hit in a lead, make sure you're going to deal with one of the things that's typically a comeback mechanism in PvP, which is the Dog Templar. I'm just going to jump onto this 4th base. It is going to be in trouble. There's a couple of Immortals. Honestly, a decent counter units from Cyan, and it's enough to scare Lemon away for now, but for how long? As his Zealots continue to rack up, and we're still pre-charged here from Cyan. He doesn't have any Zealots available. The Immortals are going to be on their own. If we realize this, that's a blink and a half you can take onto them. He didn't see it, so a moment of exposure there from Cyan is going to pass.
Yeah, this is so many Stalkers now, and the Zealots as well. I mean, there's no Archons to deal with these, and the firepower is just more. And look at those Immortals. They are not long for this world here. Focusing down the shield battery nicely as well, getting the next Immortal, and I tell you what, nice game out of Lemon here. It's been a feisty PvP so far, and Cyan's going to try and do everything he can, but this is a game of numbers at this point, and there's just too much Lemon. GG.
Too much Lemon. He absolutely batters through the front door there, and he really had to come up with the defense, right? It was not looking pretty for him back at home. It looked very close, very claustrophobic on the defense. He was really packed in on his natural, but he broke out, and then he had to defend the 3rd base, which didn't look like a guarantee either. He had to make a lot of good blinks to guarantee that his units would be able to provide the value necessary. But he got there, made it happen, and now we sit going into a Game 3 as our first match of Asia, which will not be a 3-0 guaranteed already. It's going to be happening here, and that's also very exciting. So going to be seeing some back and forth across the course of this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, Oliveira really speedran his first series, didn't he? Like, I don't think, well, maybe one of the games went above 10 minutes, but he just came very, very prepared. 3rd map between these guys will be Crimson Court. Definitely an interesting one for PvP. In fact, an interesting one in general. I like the avenues on this map, the corridors that the players can utilize in different ways, and the expansion patterns and whatnot. But Lemon feels like once he gets into his comfort zone, he's just very good about expanding. Like, just very good. And he didn't really slow down on the pro production either. He defended all that as well early on with just 2 gates. Like, he really played with the Zerg motto, like, as long as you're not dead, if you play as greedy as you possibly can, and you stay alive, then you're going to be in good shape. And yeah, he did it. He had a good 50 supply advantage that game. And yeah, Cyan, I like the fact that he brought something a little bit wild there, because you felt how strong it was. Like, it really could have shut the game out if a few things went a little bit more his way.
Well, we'll see if something can go his way again this time as we go into Crimson Core, as you mentioned. I'm with you in what you say about the map. It's interesting, it's fun. Players all have their own kind of way of playing. Rich Vest being available is a pretty big deal in the mirrors. If one player makes a bid for that, the other does not. So a lot to look at here as we dive into game number 3. In the bottom left-hand corner, our blue Protoss player is Lemon.
And spawning over in the top right-hand side, a true veteran of this region. It is the red Protoss, it is Cyan. Very much a long-distance map, this one. So if there was ever a map where you're like, you know what, one gate expand, this could be one. I know it's low ground without a ramp and whatnot, but the rush distance is pretty far, and obviously you can do things like proxy, and warp gate doesn't really care too much about the distance, but right now both of them going to scout immediately at the same time. Second gas starts from Cyan. Thus far, Lemon, I wonder if he is going to do something a little bit cheeky. All right. Goes for his own second gas. Just a little bit later here from him.
Yeah, would it be... I mean, it's very weird to try and play one gas, right? One gas, you know, basically an expand, but even then, it's not even necessarily a good expand. As our probe comes to nibble the other probe, so we'll have that action for a few moments here. Nothing too wild as the gates come up, cyber cores start. Again, that 2-gate setup, no 1-gating. I do expect we've got some European PvP coming up later today. I really expect to see a couple of 1-gates there, perhaps. So, interesting to see how that goes. Just to see the difference kind of between regions. I mean, we have a lot of different stuff going on across the course of today.
Yeah, I think that PvP between Showtime and Goblin is one I'm very much looking forward to. Both those guys are not unfamiliar with Phoenix play in PvP. We got to see that from Showtime for sure. Yeah. And Goblin is very much a guy that lives and dies by the Phoenix. Not always in PvP necessarily, but he's not unfamiliar with Phoenix by any means. This game, Cyan's going to be going for the double adept again. Lemon, on his side of things, the more, I'll call it the sturdier approach, where he's going for the Stalker and the Sentry very early on to try and get that scouting information. And Cyan does opt for a Stargate at the back of his base.
Yeah, he's going to put that down. So, Stargate already being placed, wanting to go into kind of the Stargate-based expansion. What Lemon's doing is very interesting, by the way. He gets 2 gateways, and then he consistently only uses one of them. He did this last game as well. I didn't mention it, just, you know, wasn't sure if he messed up the build. But this is, like, purposefully just, like, building one sentry at a time. And it's just very intriguing, because at this point, I'm almost like, why didn't we just 1-gate expand a little sooner, and then drop a second gateway down afterwards? Because we're really just sat here with the second gateway, more or less, just hasn't been used. Like a tiny bit of overlap, but that was all. Very interesting.
It's almost like Lemon is a mysterious fellow. By the way, he hasn't yet scouted, like, or with the hallucination, but he's got a shield battery at the natural already, so very, very safe in that regard. This hallucination comes very quickly, so we'll most likely get to spot the tech. It does just that, gets an Oracle in production as well. So far, I prefer the situation Lemon's in, but Cyan's army is made for dealing damage and being just a true thorn in the side. And Lemon so far, as long as he keeps ticking the boxes and just making sure that he's not going to take damage, he should be in all right shape here.
Yes, if he just puts himself into that kind of defense setup, as long as he does make sure these adepts don't get anywhere, he should be fine. And then he's on his way to a nice fast blink, and the robo follow-up from Cyan means that he will not match blink at any point. Instead, he will just be moving into the very heavy tech units. This could turn into maybe like some kind of an immortal push at some point out on the back of this Oracle pressure, so we'll see. Lemon's defense is spot on so far, though the Stalkers are where they need to be. And this is one of the benefits of opening sentries right now. The Oracles are nowhere near as scary as they used to be. 4 Adepts used to one-shot sentries, now they don't. A couple of Oracles would zap down sentries really quickly, now they don't. The loss of that light tag on the sentry is such a big game changer for this PvP matchup. It really does make a big difference. As now the Adepts commit in with the Oracles, we're just going to dive for as many probes as possible. But this is going to cost you some units, as the first Oracle is low. We get to finish that off, so at least we get a kill here as Lemon force fields to guarantee that these Adepts stay in range for a little bit longer, but he doesn't net himself a kill off the back of that.
Yeah, I mean, losing the Oracle wasn't the best, but for 8 probes, getting that much damage early on, that's obviously fantastic. And Lemon has to be careful. Like, his standing army is solid, right? Like, it's going to be 8 Stalkers with Blink, 2 Sentries, and what's on the other side of the map? Nothing. It's like 2 Sentries back at home, soon to be an Immortal as well for Cyan. Like, if Lemon was able to push it, then he could deal damage, and he's going to take this opportunity just to be like, you know what? Let's get a third on the go very quickly. I've got Blink. There's not so much you can do right now at this point in time, but he has to still be very respectful for a single Oracle on the map, and we're seeing the difference in third bases here. Cyan's third base that he's gone for is a little bit susceptible to Blink, given that Lemon can avenue and what have you very easily with the Blink. But I don't hate it, because it's just a weird spot to try and attack into.
It really is. As the Robo comes up from Lemon, he will be able to start matching some of the tech units, and Cyan, with his Totem Twilight Council, likely just to play into charge here. This is one of those moments where you do not play a late Blink. That's going to leave you in a very weird spot. And yeah, we get ourselves a couple of different, third bases at this stage, right? So just 2 very different routes of playing. Lemon having to play the middle of the map a little bit more. Cyan wants to play around those edges where it's very difficult for your opponent to ever attack you, apart from maybe with Prism play. So again, the beauty of this map, showing once again that players can just play their style. They can play to, they can adapt the map to what works for them. Really just makes for such entertaining StarCraft 2, because it means every game on this map usually ends up a little bit different. No one is going to have like a direct, like, oh, this is the best way to do it, or the best thing to do. This map doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't. And we're seeing small differences in how they're kind of splitting their economy. Cyan very much piling a lot more into gas here, and we do see a Dark Shrine on the go. Warp Prism as well. Now, whether that's for a full-blown attack or for some harass, something like that, usually just gives you quite a bit more mobility. Can even sync it with those Adepts on the go. Lemon still sticking just to 2 gases so far, which he's got Stalkers in each base that he can do. He's Gateway exploding as well. Gonna have Charge online fairly soon. Really nice scouting out of both these players. Like, they're both checking everywhere they can to see what tech is available. Lemon does get confirmation that there is a Dark Shrine halfway produced here, so he's going to start throwing down cannons as well. I do believe, yeah, he does have that Robo facility, so start getting the Observers as well. And Lemon is catching up in the probe count, and also taking a very quick 4th base. This is kind of been his bread and butter in PvP so far, just expanding like crazy.
Expanding like crazy, and he does have the upgrades to do that, right? So he has the Blink, he has the Charge, he just has the ability to kind of be a bit fast on the expand, and again, he's kind of playing the middle of the map, whereas as a Cyan, if you want to take a 4th base, you then have to stretch out to the middle of the map, and then you're kind of on the edge and in the middle, whereas Lemon is just in the middle. So I feel like his base setup allows him to more easily take the 4th base a little sooner as well. And the Warp Prism shows up, and the first DT going to be moving in just a moment. We're a few moments away from that cannon being available. Actually, more DTs just going to drop in. They drop on top of the cannons, so that first DT went elsewhere. The cannon gets killed just before it finishes. Of course, we do have the Robo, so Observer's available, but it's still a question of getting units and that Observer in position, and that's absolutely the problem right now. Good response from Lemon, though. I mean, he didn't really lose anything. He's going to blink in to try and get the Prism. It's not going to be enough, but good try. All things considered, that was a very solid defense.
It was a solid defense, and Cyan's just continuing to expand down that right side of the map here. Lemon's army is getting big. It really is. Probe count, even though Cyan's been killing a lot, Lemon's been keeping up. Gas-wise, still just relying on 2 gases here, Wardy. Now, Lemon does have that rich Vespane available, but I'm not sure Lemon expected to run to this army right over here, and Warp Prism very exposed. Cyan blinks on it, immediately takes it out, but not for some losses. Quite a few Stalkers are biting the dust here. Lemon's got more numbers, but Cyan definitely has the tech advantage here.
He really does. Those Immortals whacking the Archons helping in a big way as well. As you do see a few more DTs warped in, so Cyan will keep up with those. +2 is a little sooner from Lemon, but not ready yet. That might be something he has to try and take advantage of if he wants to fight against this Tech Hero army. The answer may very well just be to, yes, go with the Tech Hero army, but go up against the Tech Hero army, but with better upgrades. Maybe that can be the edge. The tech on this high ground for Cyan is kind of insane. Like 4 Archons, couple of Immortals. There's just nothing that really deals damage to those units quickly, so you can't get rid of them quickly at all. And now you've got the Stasis Wards backing these positions up, so you can't make aggressive blink-ins to kind of chase or fully target single units down quickly either.
Lemon is going for the natural with a squad of Zealots here. He has to be so careful about these stasis, though. Like, so damn careful. He's really buying time. And nice shield battery overcharge here in the natural will keep Cyan's natural looking quite pretty and quite fresh. Some of these Archon, or rather 2 of the Archons, are getting very low on shield, so Lemon's doing a good job of poking. Lemon will have that rich Vespene available. Warp Prism goes down for Cyan. Now, that really reduces the amount of micro potential for these Archons and, maybe more importantly, the Warpins. But, again, Cyan's army is packing a massive punch here.
It is. Every single time it gets in range, it does so much. And that's the challenge for Lemon, trying to fight this without it getting the chance to fight, because his opponent's units are a little bit shorter range in terms of their attacks. Zealots hold up on the other side. He gets rid of an Archon. A couple more Zealots going down as he kites back once again. Just got to try and minimize the shots these Immortals get off, but, you know, he is chasing right now, and this is the moment where he can blink in. He gets rid of 2 Immortals immediately. He's going to go for number 3. He gets that as well. I mean, he is eating Zealot shots during this, but honestly, getting rid of the Immortals is such a big factor, because that's the bonus damage to the Stalker's gone, and look at Lemon chasing. He is not going to stop, and he is going to hunt his way all the way across the map.
I don't think Cyan expected that whatsoever. That was a perfect number of Stalkers to get those Immortals off the board very quickly. Whose base is that?
Hello?
Lemon?
Lemon?
You absolute mad lad. He is going for it. I mean, there's a Zealot run by from Cyan, but Lemon, he's like, your base is my base. There are Zealot, or rather Dark Templars in the fray, and I don't think there's an Observer here. And Cyan, did he get a little glimpse of that Nexus? I do believe so. And Lemon's like, you know what? I do need some Observers. There are DTs, and again, the amount of firepower in his army, 29 Stalkers, a lot of Zealots as well. He really doesn't give a damn about the superior tech. Oh, I love the fact that he tried to get rid of that stasis there, and he does it again with second. First time he was a little bit too fast almost, and now Lemon, he's turned the tables in a massive way.
He just needs to be super careful of his Observer. I think Cyan's doing a good job of shooting Observers down through the game. He's killed 3 so far. That's no coincidence. So keep this Observer safe, and then DTs can't be the sudden answer. And then Lemon might be able to break through this. I mean, his army supply is up by 40, so it's a huge army supply lead. He gets another Stalker here, and he just has so many numbers. The tech units just cannot really do enough. Numbers will win this as the Prism does a bit of microing, but honestly, it's not enough. The Stasis Ward goes off on a single Zealot somehow, some way. The Stasis have just not done anything, and this is looking as though we have got ourselves a Lemon who is just going to power through to win a game number 3. He keeps playing his own style, and it just keeps on working.
Yeah, this is the kind of game that just makes me a bit of a fan of Lemon, you know? Like, now it feels like Lemon's proper warming up, right? Like, taking that as your 5th base, he doesn't mind out that wall. He's just like, you know what? Let's go. Let's take your base, get both rich Vespene gases on the map, and maybe we can say Cyan outstayed his welcome in the middle there. Just a little bit, and I mean, Lemon was picking off a good amount of units for those Stalkers, but just really cool play out of Lemon. Like, it's not something you see all the time, is it? And yeah, just very, very nice out of him. Very decisive. That's one thing that really kind of resonates with me. Just Lemon is very willing to take any sort of fight where he feels that he can get some edge micro-wise, and his army was a lot more nimble, and it really, really showed.
It's so funny that the nimble army on such a, map we've been talking about is a much kind of narrower map, right? Like yes, it's long, but it's narrow, and yet the nimble army's still okay. He just put that Nexus down at the end as well, like, Lemon, bro. He's a wild one. So we're waiting for Cyan. He's gonna take a moment, of course. Absolutely take a moment here, because this is a very important game. You lose this and you end up in the lower bracket. And that lower bracket is not going to be easy, right? Like, at the end of the day, this is obviously going to be a very tough group, but tough bracket in general, but lower bracket is going to be rough. I mean, your first opponent would be Coffee. We know how dangerous his TVP can be. So yeah, you just want to, make the comeback here, get going, get to this game 5, and get to the series win. I mean, then you're going to play Oliveira in the next round if you win this, but yeah, there's absolutely a chance there. And Oliveira that's not been completely up to par this season in terms of his usual expectations. And it obviously just bypasses that first round of the lower bracket as well. So, big match, as Lemon is up 2-1.
And again, Lemon, first Nice, then Oliveira, then Firefly, and now potentially Cyan as well, match point for him. And again, he's just, every time you see him play, it's just, well, when I say every time, once he gets going, once he gets that wrecking ball flowing, he's a beast. Like, he's microing very well, macroing very solid as well, and it's not it's not anything that's out of this world, like, but it's just solid fundamentals, and it just very lovely to see how clean he is.
It is. Because usually when you see someone kind of have a run, we're like, well, you know, he cheesed out that guy, and then he kind of, you know, brought the most disgusting all-ins out against Oliveira. It's not been that at all. You're right. It's the fundamentals that have been clean, right? So, as we get into Side Delta here in just a second, we'll get this underway. It's Cyan versus Lemon game number 4. Everyone is ready, so we are really just hoping that we can start. We've been ready for a minute or so, but we're good now.
If there's one thing that I take away from Lemon's play, it's just how quick and urgent he is about expanding and kind of keep... Like, he was doing a lot of that off 2 gases initially, then used the rich Vespane gas to really power things up, but just a refreshing approach to just Protoss in general. Like, it's so lovely to see it just flourish and for him to expand like he does. It really is a mixture of the races. And spawning over in the bottom right hand side here as our red Protoss on site Delta, it is Cyan.
A map away from continuing this streak of names he's been able to take down in this event so far. Our blue Protoss player is Lemon.
Now, we do have a different variations going on this map. Obviously, the first map of this series with a low ground ramp, meaning that you're natural. Far easier to defend against any sort of pressure, given that you have the vision on the high ground, your opponent doesn't. And we do see both of them meeting the challenge here, and kind of rightly so. It's too good not to go for at this point, I feel, in PvP.
Yes, it's very weird not to. I mean, you're basically... If you want to play 2 gates, you can also still just wall off with 2 gates, right? And there's usually very minimal effect to that, so... I would almost always see just low ground setup, and... You know, the way that they've been playing, they've not been comfortable to 1 gate without the ramp, which is what a lot of people have started to do lately. You know, with the high ground gateway, 1 gate, and then an expansion. So... If this is your time to kind of do something different, I think they're going to grasp that opportunity. But we do see a second gas already from Cyan. It's a little bit earlier than Lemon, so a little bit of a difference there. So it's one of those things to note already in this game early on.
Yeah, it's one of those things where having 16 guys on the minerals early on is obviously what you want. Get that gas ready just in time for your workers to go. And it looks like Lemon's lined it up about the same. Like, the gas count that they actually both get isn't too much different, right? But... both going for the Zealot as well, just to sort out this Nexus blocking. Looks like Cyan could potentially get away with an earlier Nexus here, but knowing when he can cancel his building and whatnot, this is just your PvP these days.
Yes, this is very typical. Kind of what you expect on site Delta. The Zealot is out, deny the blocks. Stargate comes down. I mean, that's pretty typical too, just the 1 gate Stargate expand. Is not super strange. I'd say the strangest thing is that Cyan built his Cybercore on the high ground. And just denied means he doesn't wall off for a while, but it also means 1 less kind of important structure in the wall off. He drops his Nexus down a little bit sooner. Not that much sooner than the Stargate, but of course Cyan still has gas to spend, so we'll see what he wants to spend that gas on. He can still add on like a sentry or so, if he wants to kind of get some kind of information up, or of course his own tech structure can come down very shortly as well, and we'll see where he's going to take this.
I guess one of the biggest things about having... Oh, this is going to be a nice little win for Lemon in the middle of the map, I would say. Although Mr. Stalker does join the fray as well. Now, this is easier said than done. Like, the Stalker is kind of the best unit on the map so far, but that doesn't mean it's going to outright win this battle. And... oh, 2 Stalkers now. Okay. That Adept, a little bit too big for its boat, or too big for its shoes there. And nice wall in with that gateway will stop that from happening. That's a big investment into that wall early on. Like, because he didn't have the Cybercore, 2 extra gates. That's big.
Big, especially if he doesn't use these gateways. But now he's going into 3 more gates in total. Okay, he cancels the one in the front because he doesn't want to be walled in. But he still is going to add an extra one across the map. So this is going to be 3 gate pressure. It was a throwback to kind of an earlier game as well, right? Like, he wanted to 3 gate pressure in game number 2 as well. And in the end, that kind of fell apart for him. This Oracle flies in, is going to see, okay, there's already a battery here. Putting the stasis ward down when you're under fire from the Stalker is obviously a bit brave. It does catch a lot of probes as Cyan pulled the workers, but not enough of them.
No, that was interesting. I almost thought that he might shoot at the stasis with the Stalker and pull a few probes to deal with it, but this second Oracle did get to spot exactly what's going on. Now I'm very curious what Lemon's going to start producing. He cancelled a building in the main here, throws up some extra gateways, realizing that he can't go for the tech. So he's absolutely responding to what's happening. But I tell you what, it's still going to be pretty scary to deal with now. 2 Oracles are alive, and I tell you what, this is going to absolutely... Oh, look at that target fire. That is gorgeous play out of Lemon there.
Yeah, it stopped just as you mentioned it, but yes, otherwise, it was really good as he got himself a whole bunch of workers. Yes, that's 9 workers killed. Lemon, a huge amount of workers ahead. Love that the Void Ray is on the way. He has had to use Super Battery, though, and this is a dangerous moment where he needs to hold, and he knows, though, he's killed probes, so he can actually use some probes to help defend.
Oh,
as he's a little
take
bit back
that
and
gateway.
Forth.
Yeah, he was doing a probe again, you know. Oh, he's doing it again. Maybe he wants it dead.
What, for a bit more freedom?
No.
Surely not. I mean,
he shot it so much, Wardy, that he's been playing so good that I'm like, anything you... What? He killed a probe. Okay, he did that so he could warp in another Stalker. So, yeah, he's a man on a mission here, Wardy. That is a lot of Stalkers, but fighting against this up this ramp is so damn difficult. And Lemon, he's pulling probes. He's warping in more units. This is going to be really hard for Cyan to break, though. I don't think he can do it. And, I mean, there's one pylon powering up all that stuff. The Oracles come in again. Lovely, lovely target fight. Stops again as soon as I say it, but dealing lots of damage. The Void Ray still dancing behind the units here, dealing a lot of damage. The probe Hook of Doom. I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, it's getting close between them, but I think Lemon's got just enough to deal with this. And what a fiery game here to finish things off.
Yeah, this Void Ray is going to have a super battery now, so it will not go down, which means that all of these Stalkers will be in trouble. And as you kill each and every one of these Stalkers, it is going to be good for victory. And there it is, GG's. Lemon is going to take it 3-1 over.